In Biden's last days of office, he has a lot of power and immunity. One of the most simple and effective things he can do to protect people from Trump is use his pardon power. Just this week, Trump lawyer threatened Attorney General Letitia James with jail. And will he pardon his son? My name is Dina Doll with the MeidasTouch Network. Let's break this down. Mike Davis, Trump lawyer, just went on a podcast and told everyone that he plans on putting Attorney General Letitia James in jail. This is his way of auditioning for the role of Attorney General under Trump. See, Mike Davis used to be the chief counsel for nominations for the Senate Judiciary Committee. He clerked under Justice Gorsuch. He is willing to do the retribution that Trump wants to be done. But he's telling us this in advance, while there is still time for Biden to do something about it. Let's hear what Mike Davis had to say, these really hateful comments that he had to say about Attorney General Letitia James.
Let me just say this to Big Tish James, the New York Attorney General. I dare you to try to continue your lawfare against President Trump in his second term, because listen here, sweetheart, we're not messing around this time. And we will put your fat ass in prison for conspiracy against rights. And I promise you that. So think long and hard before you want to violate President Trump's constitutional rights or any other American's constitutional rights. It's not going to happen again.
We've been warning people on the show, Mike. This isn't the same Trump administration. Stop messing around. Don't rig elections. Don't illegally vote. Don't try the funny business, because we know the team this time and they are not effing around.
In case you thought that kind of really hateful language was just a one-off, Mike Davis also went on X and posted this, said, "Here's my current mood." This was November 6th. "I want to drag their dead political bodies through the streets, burn them, and throw them off the wall. Legally, politically, and financially, of course." I'm thinking he's thinking the handmade wall. I'm not sure what kind of wall he's speaking of there. But either way, this is that kind of dystopian, hateful language that we expected from Trump's world and expected from somebody who's going to be trying to get into the Attorney General position. I mean, Trump, throughout his campaign, articulated the people who, he was going to go after. This Mike Smith also said about Jack Smith that he needs to lawyer up. Trump said that he was going to deport Jack Smith. So we know there's Attorney General Letitia James, there's Jack Smith, Justice Merchan, Fani Willis. The list goes on and on of people that we have heard Trump say that he's going to go after. We're talking about journalists. We're talking about celebrities, Taylor Swift, people like that. Now, here's the thing, is this is happening before Biden leaves office. There is still time to do something. The White House knows there's a lot of curiosity around what they are going to do with their pardon. Let's hear what they just said in the press conference the other day.
Does the president intend to pardon any administration officials or people that Trump has threatened with any sort of legal actions? He's got 74 days, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I know pardons is going to be a big part of the questions that I get here over the next several weeks and couple of months that we have. I don't have anything to share or any thought process on pardons. Once we have something to share, we certainly will share that.
So let's get into the pardons. Yes, it would be tricky for Biden to be able to pardon en masse people who Trump wants to get after, because it's not so obvious what crime that they would be going after them for. It is true, however, that Mike Davis said that they would go after Attorney General Letitia James for some sort of conspiracy to take away rights. I don't know if that's technically even a crime, but I suppose you could say pardon for any type of conspiracy. But I think he should do even more than that, because here's the thing. He has absolute immunity, according to the Supreme Court, and the presidential pardon has always been seen as a very executive power that is not questioned. The president over the years has sometimes gotten direction from an agency who vets and recommends pardons, but a president doesn't have to go through that route. There is no articulated limits on the pardon power to begin with, and then you add on the immunity from the Supreme Court. I think it's time to test the boundary of that immunity decision. I think it's time for us to start, stopping ourselves and reining ourselves in and playing by the rules when the other side isn't. I mean, if Biden is worried about what mass pardoning for specific individuals would be, then how about he have background checks done on the certain individuals to see if there's any crimes that maybe they've committed that he doesn't want to pardon. I mean, he has power, he has resources, but we are well past time pretending that Trump isn't going to do the things he promised, that his potential attorney generals aren't going to do the things they promised. And these civil servants have carried out their jobs professionally, ethically, bravely. They shouldn't be threatened with criminal prosecution. And Biden can do something and should do something. And people much more qualified than me can figure out a way to make it happen. Now, Hunter Biden, as we all know, was prosecuted in a way that he wouldn't have been if he wasn't the president's son. He pled guilty with his federal charges out in California, and he was convicted by a jury in Delaware for those charges. And the White House has been asked over and over about whether or not he will pardon his son. They were just asked about it this week. Let's hear what they said.
His son, Hunter, is also up for being sentenced next month. Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
So Biden continues to say he's not going to pardon his son. But interestingly, nobody has asked him whether or not he will grant clemency to his son. Pardoning and clemency are two different things. If he were to pardon his son, it would be as if he was never convicted or he had never pled guilty. He would not be a felon at all. They would just go away, the convictions. But if you grant somebody clemency, their convictions stand, but the sentencing is what goes away. Like somebody could have been serving a sentence at some point and then you're granted clemency and you would be released from jail early. In Hunter's case, he is supposed to be sentenced in December. So before the time that Biden leaves office, he can very easily grant him clemency. So that way his son doesn't go to prison, or if he were to have to go to prison right away after the sentencing and Biden doesn't want to grant this until his last day of office, it could be for a short period of time. No reporter has asked him that, but that would be a way for him to give justice to his son and at the same time respect the jury and respect the rule of law, which is, I think, what he, the president wants to do, but also acknowledge the fact that Hunter wouldn't have gotten charged if he wasn't the son. Prosecutors everywhere really said the fact that he had the gun for one day wouldn't normally have justified charges in a trial in that respect. And so granting clemency, I think, makes a lot of sense because he's not overturning the will of the jury, but he's allowing for the fact that the sentencing here, the punishment here, shouldn't be so harsh. So in addition to protecting political adversaries of Trump, which Biden should do with his pardon power and do it in the most broad way possible, let the Supreme Court stop him. At this point, he should at least try. He should also grant clemency to his son. He can also, with that pardon power, create social justice reform. And in fact, he did that while he was president. He pardoned thousands of people who had been criminally prosecuted for possessing marijuana. He pardoned vets who had been criminally prosecuted under the military law against gay sex. He can grant pardons or clemency for prison reform. There's a lot Biden can do with his pardon power, and he should. My name is Dina Doll with the MeidasTouch Network. Free subscribe will continue to give you clarity in the chaos of all the legal issues that may come.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.